Hello everyone, I'm Michaela Kathleen and this is another quotes video. This is going to be my TV quotes part 2 video. I will link part 1 down below. And in my last TV quotes video, I had quite a few older TV quotes from the classics like One Tree Hill and Boy Meets World. So this part 2 will have some slightly newer, though still fairly old quotes. So first off, I have quite a few quotes from The Walking Dead. This was my favorite show for a few years there, and the first one I have is from the character Herschel, and it goes, "You step outside, you risk your life. You take a drink of water, you risk your life. And nowadays, you breathe and you risk your life. The only thing you can choose is what you're risking it for." So yeah, to me, Walking Dead has a lot of surprisingly deep quotes like this. The next one I have is a short exchange between two characters, Glenn and Dale. So first Glenn says, "Sorry, I was just returning your book." And Dale replies, "No, I'm sorry. If I'd known the world was ending, I would have brought better books." Which I just connected with on a personal level. Next, I have another one from Dale. I really loved the character of Dale a lot. Between him and Herschel, kind of the two big old wise men of The Walking Dead, I kind of liked Dale better. So in this one, Dale gives quite a long speech about his watch. "I like what a father said to son when he gave him a watch that had been handed down through generations. He said, 'I give you the mausoleum of all hope and desire, which will fit your individual needs no better than it did mine or my father's before me. I give it to you, not that you may remember time, but that you may forget it for a moment now and then, and not spend all of your breath trying to conquer it.'" And this quote is a really great quote about how you spend your time on this earth. And then also it's kind of a fun Easter egg quote because later, I think in season 5, there's a run of 5 episodes that are titled after this quote. So they are remember, forget, spend, try, and conquer. So that was kind of a fun Easter egg later down the road. And then my final Walking Dead quote is from King Ezekiel, and it goes, "The pessimist looks down and hits his head. The optimist looks up and loses his footing. The realist looks forward and adjusts his path accordingly." Of course, most of what King Ezekiel says is very wise. Next, I have a quote from Frances Underwood from House of Cards, which this is not necessarily a quote that I think of as wise or anything in particular. I think it more so just really relates the character of Frances Underwood very perfectly and succinctly. I don't even watch this show. I gave up after 3 episodes, but based on this quote alone, I would know exactly who this character is. So the quote goes, "Money is the McMansion in Sarasota that starts falling apart after 10 years. Power is the old stone building that stands for centuries. I cannot respect someone who doesn't see the difference." Next, I have 2 quotes from Downton Abbey. The first is between 2 characters. So the first character says, "I don't usually go for that type." And the character Branson replies, "I don't believe in types. I believe in people." Which is just a nice little quote. I like it. And then the next quote is from the wise old Carson, and it is, "The business of life is acquiring memories," which I think is very true. I think we're all just trying to live a happy life, and the real treasure of life is our memories. Next, I have a quote from Daredevil, which I think is just the best Marvel show on Netflix. And it is a conversation between Foggy and Matt. And Foggy says to Matt, "You wouldn't care if you could see the zeros on this check." To which Matt replies, "Maybe you would if you couldn't." Which is very true, and I think many people think the business of life is acquiring money, but let's all remember that it's acquiring memories. And you don't want your memories to be of yourself being a shitty person. Okay, next I have a quote from the sitcom Raising Hope, which I did not watch at the time that it was on TV. It was on Netflix later, and it unfortunately was only, I think, 2 or 3 seasons, because it was such a cute little show. But this quote was, "If you stop dreaming, then you're just sleeping," which is exactly the sort of cutesy little quote that I like. Next, I have a quote from The Good Doctor, and it goes, Good memories are like a beautiful song. You don't want them to ever end. I'm really feeling it for the memories in this video, I think. My next quote is from Atypical, which is a Netflix show that is just adorable and a joy to watch. And it's just sort of got a very realistic view on life that is still optimistic. And so this one goes, life always works out, usually. Next, I have a rather long quote from The Good Place. This is a great show that explores morality and does it in a very happy, fun way. And so this quote comes from Eleanor, and she says, "Look, the point is, people improve when they get external love and support. How can we hold it against them when they don't? Need I remind you that Brent got worse with every second of every moment of every day, until right at the end, with 10 seconds left, he swung way up. This is it, Your Honor. This is the whole story. No one is beyond rehabilitation. Brent spent a year being an absolute diaper load of a human being, and the point total tells you that. But what that number can't tell you is who he could have become tomorrow." And I think this is just a very optimistic and also true view of the world. And my final quote is from the sitcom classic Friends. And this quote comes from Phoebe as Ross is having his first baby with his ex-wife Carol, who is now married to Susan. And Ross and Susan are in the midst of a big fight. And Phoebe interrupts it and says, "This is so great, because when I was growing up, my dad left and my mother died and my stepfather went to jail, so I barely had enough pieces of parents to make one whole one. And here's this little baby who has 3 whole parents who care about it so much that they're fighting over who gets to love it the most. And it's not even born yet. It's just the luckiest baby in the whole world." Which is just such a happy quote in the midst of this fight that I have always loved it so much. And yeah, that is the final TV quote that I have. Go check out my TV quotes part 1 if you have not seen it. And thanks for watching this one. Remember, words matter.